This is the Chris and Aaron Show with Kristen, Zach, and Aaron Camaro.
Somewhere. No, that's not the one. It's none of these. I got some colored zip ties. There you go.
There it is. Check. One.
Yeah, we're rocking. Welcome to the 50th episode of the Chris and Aaron Show.
Yeah, as professional as always. I didn't even know you were recording. All right, so...
yes.
Oh, so were we going to share this about
We
Phil?
finally made it. Okay, so tell the story.
Which one?
Which one are we starting with?
Well, I mean...
Well, we kind of already told that story. I could hear you through the headphones, so...
Yeah, no. Well, and Podcast Rock City is a great show, and those are great guys. So, and Phil's okay, and Phil was like, I'm sure they're cool guys. I was just offended by it, so it's no biggie.
See, what's got to happen now is when they get a chance and they're all back in town, we need to get them all over here.
That would be cool.
To sit down and tell the story of how it all came together and how it went. And
yeah, but you guys listening, don't go back to Joe or Jody and say that you heard this story, because Joe feels awful about it.
Poor guy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want him knowing that I shared it.
You got to be careful of what you say sometimes, you know?
Yeah, and that's what Phil says, like, careful who's listening. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, of course. I mean, look at this. Great White was just in Nashville for a couple of weeks out at Michael Wagner's, and they never reached out to Decibel Geek.
Why? Because I've talked smack about Terry Illouz or whatever you say?
Yeah, and we're everybody knows we're Jack Russell guys.
Well, I'm not broken up about it. I wouldn't mind interviewing Mark because he's a great guitar player and hearing his story, but I really wasn't stoked to interview that version of Great White.
No,
not really. It doesn't work for me without Jack.
Because, I mean, that album they came out with, that Elation.
Yeah, it was terrible.
2 good songs.
I didn't like any of them.
There was 2 decent songs on there.
I'm not being a dick. I just couldn't get into it.
But to me, it wasn't Great White. But there was 2 good songs on that whole album.
Yeah, it just... Okay.
On the other hand, the new Jack Russell's pretty kick-ass.
So can I plug this in for your speakers and it'll still
right
come through?
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to try this.
Okay, so what are we about to hear?
Okay, so... Okay, well, there we go. That's Rock and Metal Combat Podcast. Let me turn that off.
Okay, I'm going to put my microphone down by the speaker.
Okay.
When it comes time.
So, I was recently told by another podcaster that 3 sides of the coin, apparently, and I guess, let me start this off. I don't personally have an issue with any of the guys on the show. I just don't really like the whole shock jockey thing that they do with trying to stir people up.
And I've never met anybody that's ever had any kind of run-in with Michael Brandvold that's ever come in a conversation where the guy has been anything other than an asshole. That's the only thing I know about the guy.
He's got a reputation.
Yeah.
And I've heard good things and bad things. So let me just start it with that. But somebody said...
I've never heard anything good.
Well, there was another podcaster that told me that there was like some offhanded comment about... that they made in a show recently about podcasts that look up things on YouTube and like provide certain information and stuff, and
like doing their homework,
I guess. But I'm gonna play the clip for you because it makes more sense if you and know this. Some of you will love this clip because during the section of the thing I'm gonna play for you, Mike's microphone wasn't working, so all you hear Mark and Tommy. So whenever Mike talks, you're just gonna hear silence. So understand that it's not the show stopping, it's Mike talking and you can't hear it, which I was a little bummed about.
We're about to hear the best episode ever, 3 sides of the coin.
That's what some people said when it happened. Let me. This is episode 213 called.
Purple, though not great for jumping, is perfect for sleeping. Purple.
Okay, I'll pull back for a minute.
Pressure.
All right. Okay. Let me go back to. Hang on.
I guess that's.
Let me get to the right area. Here we go. This is around this area.
Yeah, that was cool. I like that comment because you know what, guys? That's not what the show isn't about. Guests. The show is about the 3 of us talking. The guests just bring out more stuff of what we like, which is what you guys like too out there. Yeah, that's all it is, man. And again, you know, what separates, I think, what we're trying to do is not only this, but it goes back to like, you know, can you get Gene or Paul or Eric or Tommy or something? Look. All the stuff they're going to tell you, you can Google. See, this isn't a Google Facebook site. This is what whenever I have intimate conversations, like if on the cruise or at an expo, we start talking about 3 sides, and I always throw this out. So I'm going to throw it at you guys here, everybody who's listening this week. and I'm not picking on any shows or anybody else, but the stuff that we talk about, you don't Google for the most part. When we have the guests on, we're trying to get something that's not on Google. We're trying to get somebody who had an experience or a once-in-a-lifetime sort of personal. Yeah, that you're not how many, this one sold or how many, what this guy said. Google all that. And to me, that's, I think, what makes Three Sides. We, the three of us, are passionate Kiss fans. We're trying to grab at that elusive brass ring too, that the stuff you've never heard before. Why? Because we want to hear it too. And unfortunately I couldn't join you when you were with Floor, but wow, Mike, what is it, over 40,000 spins on that?
Oh yeah.
That's what Mike cuts out.
And you know why, guys? You know why there's 40,000? Because you guys want to hear stuff that you can't be Googled. You want to hear somebody who was there in the trenches that you're not going to hear anywhere else. That's what, that's why we show up every week. We have fun. And, we like hearing that stuff too.
So. And not 40, but 40,000. I'd love to see another podcast like ours pull that kind of number.
The gauntlet.
I'm just so tired of hearing all the bullshit. So it's like, hey, proof's in the pudding.
Wait, that's Mike talking. Keeps going. Hang on.
I can imagine what the hell he's saying.
Yeah, I know. I really wish I could have heard it.
Guys, again, this is a little inside baseball. We had something recently. You should do more like this other person does because they're the better and they're the best. And I'm like, didn't we just get 40,000 views?
Uh-huh.
What more do we need to do? I mean, look, and again, if this show gets 5,000 or 500, it doesn't matter.
Apparently it does with 40,000.
But
I'm just proud of what we've accomplished and what we're doing. That's all.
That's pretty much it.
Wow. So you think that was directed at us?
Well, the comment about you guys should be more like blah 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 because they're like the best, and I'm not tooting my own horn
because but when we do our interviews and have our conversations and record them, we really don't.
Not your foot.
Do like standard questions and shit.
No, we don't. I don't know that was necessarily directed at us, but the thing about you guys should be more like so and so, I kind of took that as us, but. I don't know if it's us or not, but I know that people have gone to them with, if we do like an interview with certain people, like when we did the Pixie interview,
yeah,
a lot of people posted that on their wall, and then and they just ignored it. They wouldn't acknowledge it, and I mean a lot of people shared it on their wall
because it was freaking awesome.
It was one of our best shows ever. And then when we did when we had Big John Hart on the show,
that was another great one.
I remember this. Somebody posted on there. Hey, the Decibel Geek guys just had Big John Hart on the show. You guys should get him. And Mike's response was, sorry, but we don't chase interviews.
So, because we take the time to look, it took a while to look him up.
I do chase interviews. You know why? So you guys can listen to them.
Exactly.
Because I'm not a big egomaniacal asshole who thinks that everyone needs to come to me.
Jeez.
I mean, I'm sorry, but that's a douchey fucking thing to say.
Well, I just did say that Great White didn't come to us.
That's true. Aaron Brandvold.
Hey, wait a minute. It's only funny when I say it.
No, but I was just I don't know. The arrogance that permeates that show. It cracks me up. And I'm only doing this in VIPs. That's the difference.
Are they talking about like 40,000 downloads per episode or 40,000 likes on Facebook or
40,000 downloads for that they had somebody who I wanted to get to and they beat me to her. She was Fleur Thiemeyer. She was the costume person for the band in the mid 80s. She's responsible for the Asylum look, and she's also Mike Tramp's wife.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, and I wanted to get her on the show and they beat me to her, but no biggie. But we beat them to John Regan. We got him when they were
Big John Hart.
But
Big Saxman.
Well, yeah, a lot of people. But they had John Regan was scheduled for like 2 weeks after we got him.
Yeah.
Like, Mitch was even sore at me for that one.
Yeah.
He was like, dude, we fucking had him. I'm like, well, it is what it is, man. I'm not trying to beat you. I'm just booking people. But no, they get a lot
of...
We
gotta have him back on.
Who?
John Regan.
John Regan?
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, I'd like to talk to him.
Doing Albums Unleashed with him on some Fraley's Comet.
Fraley's Comet.
Shoot, yeah, anyone. Trouble walking.
But, and this stays between this small group of people listening and us, but I just don't like their attitude and the way they go about it. I mean, if they get 1 million downloads a show, great for them, but I don't like their attitude.
Right.
It just bugs me.
Do we even come close to 40,000? Do you think that's
not
real?
Per episode? Hell no.
Is that real?
It may be. Well, but there are things called bots. I don't know. I'm not trying to start a conspiracy theory.
But I'm just saying, I mean...
Adam Carolla gets 2 million an episode, so you got to look at it.
And somebody told me, too, that their Facebook page has, like, a bunch of likes on it that rivals many of the bands that we talk about on this show.
Doesn't rival the band. No. Most bands have, like, hundreds and hundreds of thousands.
Yeah.
No, they've got, like, 30,000, I think.
Oh, okay.
But I'm not going to get caught up in numbers. I don't give a shit. I'm just happy with who we have.
Because I know that ours are legit, and there's no question about that. Because we used to get excited when 20 people would listen to this show.
Yeah.
You know,
a lot more than 20 of you.
And we're still excited. You know, every week. I think we're just as excited every week as we were when we first started this. Because, even today I sent you a text and said, "Man, I'm stoked to be recording tonight. I'm really excited about this episode. I think it's going to be great."
And then I come on and whine about 3 sides. I don't know.
It's all in fun.
But you guys like the behind the scenes talk, so this is it.
Right.
I'm never going to say something like this on the actual show.
But if anything, like, is he saying with the Google, I mean, is he giving us shit because we take the time to do our fucking homework, so we're not just running off at the gums about some bullshit, so we don't become known as the interviewers who would rather talk about themselves than the person they're interviewing? I mean, that's kind of their reputation as far as I can tell.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I used to listen to it when Mitch was on.
I did too.
When he left,
I
pretty much left too.
It left a bad taste in my mouth because I consider Mitch a friend. So, and I didn't like the way things went.
And Mitch is a little funny too, but he's like he's kind of got the Vinnie Vincent thing going on, where like Mitch was probably just a normal, decent guy. And then he joined 3 sides, and they fucked him up.
Changed him.
And now he's a little weird, but he's still our friend. And we still like him.
I still like Mitch, but Mitch is Mitch. I'll just say that.
He's a little weird, but we like him.
He's a good guy.
Yeah,
he's a good guy at heart. And he's good. He's got a good family.
Yeah.
Hope he can make the convention. Well, let's talk about something happier.
Yeah, man.
Okay.
Holy shit, this convention.
So yeah, if you follow us on social media, then you've no doubt heard this. But
I just got to tell you, like a month ago, when this came up as just kind of a long distance pipe dream, I was like, oh yeah, that'd be nice someday.
One day, yeah.
Holy shit.
Well, now it looks like it's going to happen. It's the hopefully first annual Nashville Rock and Pod Expo, and basically, for years, a lot of us have always talked about, like, we were friends with the podcast guys, or, Podcast Rock City, or Matt Porter with Kiss Room, and, like, we've always talked amongst ourselves or BJ Cramp, it'd be nice to get in the same room and hang out and have a beer or something, because, like, we've known all these people for years. Aaron and I have the luxury of actually being able to sit in the same room.
Right.
Not every podcast gets to do that. So, honestly, like, and the most crazy case of this is that Ken Mills and Gary Schaller have been doing podcasts for like 7 years and have never been in the same room together.
I saw that the other day. I read that and thought, no, that can't be right.
They've never met.
Wow.
So it's like, this needs to be rectified. And then also the thought crossed my mind, I think I've always wanted to do this. We did the Nashville Horror and Comic Convention a few years ago, and that initially put the seed in my head of this would be interesting. And then,
because we were damn popular
at the convention, amongst ourselves.
Well, we had fun, we
had fun.
We were talking to people and playing music,
but it was just a good atmosphere, and it was like, this is fun to actually be out in the public doing something rather than just hold up in a room.
And when I'd get up there, because Mark Ballard, he let us do that, and so I was there pulling double duty that day because I was there with the wrestlers too.
You were the PA announcer,
and then I was also the PA announcer. So as I'm announcing, like, hey, the dude from Ghostbusters is over here, and the guy that drew this comic book is over there, and don't forget Decibel Geek Podcast is back there in the corner.
I hear one of the hosts is really cool, but no, that was fun. And then of course, and then I think going to NAMM earlier this year kind of sealed the deal of like, I want to do something and to help further, because that's for music merchandise. But I'm like,
right.
And like comedians do their podcast festivals and tech nerds do theirs. And I'm like, you know what? If those guys can do it, why can't Rock Podcast do a convention? And it's
I don't
like,
see why not. And
then BJ came to me in around that time, and he was just like, we've been talking about doing this get together. Why don't we try to crowdfund just a hangout and see if it can happen? And then I'm like, yeah, but what if we could make it into an actual convention and we can have record dealers come in, and then get some of our famous friends that
was
live
my
here.
idea. Was the record guys?
Yeah. Sell records at the same time, and then get some of these famous people that we've bumped into over the years to see if they would come and do signings and appearances.
I'm gonna spend so much money at this thing.
Me too. And so the wheels just started turning, and then it was like, and then I just started feeling people out at other shows, and we finally found a date that seemed to work for everyone. And searching for a venue and a date that works for podcast across the country and works for everyone, not fun. Not fun at all.
Because some people are being left out. That would have been great if they could have been there.
Well, but like the August 26th was first. That was the target date first.
Ian's coming, right?
Oh yeah, Ian and Ralph are all about it.
Yeah, nice. Because I thought Ralph had to be out of town for a minute.
Well, that's the thing. August 26th was the first date, and it seemed like everyone was on board for that. And then I got that was the date we wanted, and then I found the Mid-10 Expo Center in Murfreesboro, and they were like, we don't have the 26th, but we've got August 5th and September 9th. So then I go back to everyone. Will these dates still work for everybody? The 9th was definitely out because it's during the school year, and a lot of us are parents.
Yeah.
So everybody's like, we can't do September. It's just not going to work. And then once I said, well, what about August 5th? I had like 3 bigger shows, including rock and metal, go, no, can't do. Or Ian was like, I can come, but Ralph can't. And I'm like, I really want Ralph there too.
Yeah.
You got to have both of them. And so then I'm like, you know what? I'm going to keep looking for August 26th. And then BJ, and I got to give huge props to BJ from Rock and Roll, because he's really been kind of pushing me through this.
Yeah.
And he's super hyped to do it. And so me and him have been researching venues for like 3 weeks now, making lots of phone calls.
He's doing it remotely from Wisconsin, huh?
Yeah,
nice.
Both of us, and doing a lot of work on it. And then we found. Then he goes, hey, the Nashville Fairgrounds said they have the 26th open. I'm like, they're open. They have a Saturday in August open at the fairgrounds.
I can imagine what that would cost.
Well, and then they wanted it was a 10,000 square foot room, which is actually more than we need.
Yeah.
And they were saying it was $2,500 for the room, which isn't bad.
Yeah.
Because hotels I started with, I was like, first it'd be cool to do hotels because everybody's coming in from out of town, get a discounted rate.
Right there.
Hotels are a bad idea unless you got a lot of money to blow, because you can get a nice room and all and get a discount on the rooms. But if you want to do it on a Saturday, you got to pay $3,000 to $5,000 for a food and drink minimum to cover what they would expect to pull in if you weren't there.
So they're banking on weddings and Mormon conventions.
Yeah, a record in podcasting convention, it ain't going to generate much in food sales.
A bunch of grubby dudes with
Although
old
we are a bunch of fat
records.
guys.
Yeah.
But no, so I was like, hotels, no, not happening. And then so the fairground, the guy, so BJ goes, I got an email from the fairgrounds. They say it's wide open and they have rooms and everything. I'm like, well, hell yeah. So then I go back to everyone. 26 fairgrounds, looks like this is it. Everybody gets all excited. I start emailing the guy in charge of the fairgrounds, and like he's not. Oh, I start leaving him voicemails, because that's one thing I've learned through this. No one answers.
What's the guy's name?
Scott.
Okay.
No one answers the fucking phone these days. Everything has to be done through email. People are scared to talk on the phone, because I try to just call and do it, and no one answers my call. So I leave 2 voicemails. He never calls me back, and then I email him like, "Hey, what's going on, man? We're ready to do the contract," and he responds. He goes, August 26th isn't open that date. That's a flea market date, but I have other dates that are open.
Dang.
So then I tell BJ, and BJ's like, what the fuck? Here's the email the guy sent me. And so I copy what he said, and I sent it back. I was like, well, you told my associate this the other day. What gives? And he comes back and he goes, oh, that was a mistake on my assistant's part. Sorry about that.
Yeah, my assistant, my ass.
And I was like, motherfucker. And I was almost ready to say fuck it at that point. But I'm like, no, let's just frantically see if we can find something for the 26th. And then we find a few other one place is a wellness center for 50-year-old plus people that BJ found in Brentwood.
In Brentwood.
Yeah. But I mean it's actually good sized space. It would have worked, but I'm talking to the lady on the phone. She sounds like the church lady from Saturday Night Live. And
I'm man, they would love to see us come rolling
I'm thinking,
in.
how is this woman going to react to Dr. Fuck walking into the room?
being announced through the loudspeaker.
Yeah, I know. I was like, these are really nice, like, proper people. They're not going to like our group.
No,
but
that doesn't seem like a good fit.
So then I just start scrolling through Google and venues and all kinds of different Google searches, and
Did you look on Craigslist?
I did not.
See, you always start with Craigslist.
I probably should have, but I found Millennium Hall in Nashville. And you guys have seen the pictures by now. It's not the greatest part of town. You know exactly where it is because you used to live not far from it, I think.
I'm trying to think where Millennium Hall is. That closer to town?
It's closer to downtown.
Like closer than Trinity Lane?
It's basically between downtown and Trinity Lane on Dickerson.
All right. Yeah, that's
it's being gentrified. Like the area, you'll see it look like the Hood in one spot, but then there's a high-rise nice condo right behind it.
Yeah.
But
buddy system, everybody.
Yeah, but we're all middle-aged guys. Nobody's gonna screw with us.
Nah, I don't think so.
But it's
I have Ken Mills kick their ass.
Right. But the hall's pretty cheap. It's a low rate, and the biggest thing, he's not going to charge me for table and chairs, because we can sell the tables to, or rent the tables to record dealers and vendors.
And we can drink in there.
Yes, there is a bar in there too, and I can bring a bartender in.
Wow.
Yep, I can get a 1-day beer license and have alcohol served.
Wow.
So there will be, and I told Ian Wildley that. I was like, just know that there's a bar 10 feet from your table. He said, that'll work. I'm going to try to get Rolling Rock to sponsor the show.
Way better than the fairgrounds. You should try to get some beer.
Well, we need to just to supply his ass.
Yeah.
Because that's all he drinks.
Oh, yeah.
Horrible beer. But
I'm not a big fan of the Rolling Rock.
I drank it in college when I had to, but no, I wouldn't drink it by choice. But and I know, and my buddy from college owns a bartending service, the one that my wife works for.
Yeah.
So he'll cut me a deal.
Right on.
And I can work out a deal with a food truck to come up and park there and serve food to everybody. So if you guys are listening, you guys are like the biggest diehards of the show there is. We'd love to have you in town for this because and we're crowdfunding the entire thing. So if you can support it at all, even if you can't be here, if you want to just see it happen and hear about the craziness that goes down, we could use it.
Because I'm sure all these podcasts are probably going to have their own podcasts that were recorded at this, guest starring all other people.
Well, that was my idea. Was like when we did it at the horror and comic convention, we were like, well, let's bring the mixer and the mics down and we'll just record episodes all day. Right. That way we're not just sitting there looking around going, what do we do?
Right.
And that was like, imagine a whole room full of all these shows with their gear and they can record all day and we can record with each other.
Yeah.
It's perfect. And then I think I got our first confirmed guest. As long as schedule permits, Michael Wagner will be there.
Nice. So we can do a live in front of an audience?
Well, what I want to do is do like a producer's panel session and have Michael, Toby Wright, and maybe one or two other producers, and then do like a big session, because I have a separate room to do a stage and in front of an audience with chairs. Yeah. And I want to do a session there, and we can record it too.
Nice.
But yeah, talk about the way albums were made and how their techniques differ and all that. And Michael's like, yeah, it sounds fun to me. And I was like, would you do a signing session? You can keep the money. He's like, I'll do a signing session, but just give the money to a dog charity. I'm happy with that.
Right on. What a guy.
He's such a nice guy.
What a guy.
So yeah, and I said, we want to come back out and talk docking with you sometime. And he said he's booked through like May with some projects, but after that it's open.
Right on.
But I was like, who are you working with? And one was this kid named Jacob Cade. I'm not sure who that is, in Denver. And then I can't remember the other one. And then he told me the names of the first two, and he goes, and the third one I can't talk about, but you know who he is.
I can't talk about, but you know who he is.
I'm wondering if he's getting back together with Ozzy. Sabbath just stopped, and Ozzy was talking about getting back in the studio to do another record.
With Michael Wagner producing it? Oh, yeah.
Sequel to No More Tears.
Oh, man.
I hope that's who he's talking about.
That would be freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Zakk Wylde back in the band. Michael Wagner producing it.
Yep.
Shit, yeah.
I hope. I don't know. I'm not saying that's what's happening.
It better be. Now I'm all excited.
But when he said, you know who he is, I'm like, it's a solo artist.
Yeah.
So. That's my big dream is he's talking
like
about
heavy
Ozzy.
metal. Who's he? Ozzy. Because it can't be Lemmy, and that would have been the only confusion.
Right. But yeah, so there's more people that are going to be contacted, not just producers. I'm gonna over ask and see who says yes and is in town to do it. Sure. Also, talk to Phil Schaus about it from Gene Simmons Band.
From the Gene Simmons Band.
They will be playing They will be playing a show with Gene that day in Chicago, so they won't be in town for it. But I told Phil, I was like, I'll have a vendor table if you're interested for his Mutt merch company.
Yeah,
it's like rock and roll dog wear.
Right.
So I was like, because I think it's a perfect place for you to sell your stuff.
Yeah, it sure is.
And he's like, I've got an associate I can send down for it. I'd love to do it. So
cool.
Chad Lee will be shooting Ride for Dime in Dallas.
Yeah.
But he said I think he's willing to donate some stuff because we're going to try to get a charity. We're going to do like a silent auction.
Yeah.
For a charity. And here's me trying to tie in rock even with the charity. Rock Your Voice. It's Tom Peterson from Cheap Tricks charity.
Okay.
It's for autism.
Right on.
And he lives here still, so I might even
Nashville?
get him.
Yeah.
And I might be able to get him to at least donate something, if not show up. That'd be the best if he could show up.
Yeah.
But I'm creatively, it's fun to go through the possibilities, but we'll just have to see what pans out.
That's pretty cool, man. I like that.
Yeah. So yeah, we're rolling, and as of just a few minutes ago, we were $100 shy of the venue cost.
That's amazing.
Let's do a live update right now and see if it's changed. It is at. Let's see if somebody put us over the top yet. Come on, internet. And. Fucking network is so
suspense.
slow. And it probably hasn't changed. It's been kind of slower today, but 1410. We are $90 short.
Nice. That's awesome.
In 2 days.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Man, this is pretty cool.
That is pretty awesome.
I love it.
Yeah, and we've had a lot of great donations, and boy, Ian and Ralph from Rock and Metal, they're even talking about, like, if we don't make the goal, they're going to go on strike on their show until they make people donate that way. They're that serious about getting here.
Oh man, those guys are awesome. Too funny.
They're like, guys, we never asked for shit. We don't even have an Amazon link that works. Do something.
We want to go to Nashville too. Yeah. All the other cool podcasts are doing it.
So yeah, I think between our two shows alone, we've raised a big share of the money.
Nice.
Yeah, but we love our listeners and we love you VIPs, man.
Yeah, for sure.
We're dreaming big, and we're gonna try to make something really cool happen.
That's cool, and maybe this could turn into something that could happen in other towns.
Never know.
Where you get a Kickstarter going for one in Denver or whatever, and then we're flying to those, instead of coming here.
That'd be fun.
This is the prototype.
I'm glad we're doing it here for the first year, though.
Yeah.
Even though it means me doing more work, but I don't have to deal with having to get on the damn flight and deal with a hotel and all that bullshit.
Right.
So, but yeah, it's gonna be fun, and yeah, and then next week Ricky Rocket's on the show.
Yeah, that was a good night. It was a lot of fun. Anything else interesting happening in the news here lately, or are we about to wrap it up? I mean, it's about a half an hour. Yeah, I suppose we could wrap it up.
Yeah, we're good. We got to record this new episode and get the show on the road.
All right. That was it. Number 50. Nice.
Congrats.